Hi, Trinity County 8th graders. I am Mrs. Sprague, the academic counselor at Trinity High School. I hope you and your families are doing well during this time. By now, you have received or will soon receive your ninth grade registration packets for your upcoming freshman year at Trinity High School. Among the forms in this packet that you will need to return to the high school is a course registration form where you can indicate the classes you would like to have for next year. We were unable to have our 8th grade family night where I would have gone over this form with you and talked to you about the different classes that we had. So I wanted to make a video where I could walk you through the form and go over some of the requirements and the classes that you have to choose from. First, I want to make sure that you know that in your packet there is also a couple of other supplementary materials or forms. These forms will give you some of the information that will help you to fill out your course request form. Um, so let's look at a couple of those. First, in your packet, you have a form that is entitled Graduation Requirements. This lists all the classes that are required for you to graduate from Trinity High School and the amount of graduation credits that are necessary. There's also a form that lists all of the A through G requirements. These are the requirements that you will need to complete in order to be eligible for entrance into a four-year college straight out of high school. There are also a couple of sample schedules included in your packet, and those sample schedules show two different types of schedules using the graduation requirements and using the A through G requirements. It is important that you start to make some decisions about what you would like to do after high school so that you are taking the appropriate classes and getting the grades that you would like to get while you are in high school. It is a good idea. I like to tell students to keep their doors open to all possibilities, especially since ninth grade you're not always quite sure what you want to do yet. So if you go ahead and meet all of the requirements, then you will be ready for whatever it is you decide to do your senior year. So let's start looking at some of the courses that we offer. And if you're looking at your course request form, we're going to just kind of go through that in order. The first one that you will have to decide on is English. English is a pretty easy one. Our core classes are the classes that are required. Um, English is a pretty easy one to decide on because you don't usually have very much choice in your English classes. We have one per year since there are 4 years required. English 9 is the one for freshmen and so forth. The only choice you really will need to make is if you're going to take English 9 or the English 9 honors class. We also have a basic English class, and that class is for students who have IEPs or 504s. So that is the first thing that you will mark on your paper is which one of those three classes that you would like to take. Next on your form, you will see math. There are 3 years required for high school graduation. We recommend a fourth year. Also, entrance into a four-year college recommends 4 years as well. As a freshman, these are the choices that you may be starting with. Pre-algebra, if you have been struggling in math a little bit and feel like you need a little bit more help, pre-algebra is probably the best choice for you. Algebra 1 is our typical freshman class. This is the one that most of our students take in their freshman year. Some students have already taken some algebra in 8th grade, but maybe they want a little bit more practice with it. To graduate from Trinity High School, you must have a 1 year of algebra. Of the 3 years of math required, one must be algebra. Those students who have taken algebra this year in the 8th grade and they feel like they're good with that and their teacher feels like they are really doing well in Algebra 1, some of our freshmen then go ahead and take geometry in their freshman year. Again, the basic math class is for the students with IEPs and 504s. The courses are all explained in your packet. If you want to read through the different math courses to see which one best fits for you, that it would probably be a really good idea. Science. So our science for next year, I'm going a little bit out of order here. We're skipping P, but we'll come back to it. Science, we have 2 years required for graduation. And there are 3 years recommended, especially if you are hoping to enter a four-year college right out of high school. Um, the 2 years that are required for Trinity High School, you must have a physical science and a life science. So, those we have different ones listed here, which I will explain to you. The requirement for a four-year college, A through G requirement eligibility, would be a year of physical science and a year of life science, and they must be biology and chemistry. So we have some different classes that you may start with as a freshman. This is also included as an explanation in your packet so that you can better decide which class might be best for you. Our physical earth science will be a new class this year. This course is intended for those students who struggle a little bit with math and they need that physical science class to meet that requirement for graduation. This class will not count for A through G requirement for four-year college eligibility. Also, as a physical science, we have the Intro to Chemistry and Physics class. This one will also count for graduation, and it is intended for the majority of the students who are entering as freshmen but aren't quite ready to start with biology yet. Maybe they struggle with math a little bit and they want a little bit of a foundation before they try biology and then move on to chemistry. This will give them a foundation for those chemistry and physics classes that come later in their high school career. Biology, some of our ninth graders start with biology. This course is intended for our some advanced ninth graders who do really well in math and science, and they have those skills that would help them do well in that class. Um, and then we have our Ag Science 1 class, which is a class in the agriculture program, which can also count as the first year of science in the 2-year required sciences. Again, if you look in your packet, there is an example, a suggested sequence for science, and that might help you make a choice about which science class you would like to take next year. We're going to backtrack a little bit to PE. Again, PE is another one of those classes where there isn't really choice. All freshmen are given the PE1 class, and that is because it contains the health component that is required by the state. So all students must take PE1. There are 2 years of PE required. When the students are sophomores or juniors, they can take the PE2 class or they can do the athletic PE credit, which requires them to play 2 seasons of a sport. Again, that is in your packet if you wanted to read more about the PE requirement. Optional classes, these are the classes where you have some choice. So we're going to kind of look at these kind of elective classes, if you will. Spanish, we'll start with our foreign language. A foreign language is a requirement for A through G requirements for eligibility into a four-year college straight out of high school. If this is the path that you are wishing to take, Spanish 1 or Spanish 2 would be the class that you would take. Some of our incoming 8th graders have taken Spanish, or incoming 9th graders, sorry, have taken Spanish 1 as 8th graders and therefore would choose Spanish 2. If you did not take Spanish 1 as an 8th grader, then you would choose Spanish 1. Foreign language is not a high school graduation requirement, but it is a requirement for four-year college eligibility. The high school graduation requirement is either a four-year or a foreign language class or a VAPA class, Visual and Performing Arts. These are the VAPA classes that we offer here at Trinity High School. These can meet the graduation requirement as well as the four-year college eligibility requirement. Four-year college eligibility requires 1 VAPA class and 2 foreign language classes. Graduation requires one or the other. At Trinity High School, we have a career technical education requirement. There are 40 credits required for graduation. That is the equivalent to 4 year-long classes. These classes are in the subjects of computers, agriculture, and our wood manufacturing classes. If you look in your packet, you will see information on the CTE pathways. And the pathways can get you what we call program completer certificates when you graduate. It basically means that there will be a skills certificate that the student will receive if they have completed the amount of classes in the pathway. That can help them get jobs and get into programs in the CTE field or in their prospective colleges. These classes are listed in the catalog that I sent home in the packet with descriptions for each class. Many students will take two of these in 1 year because they just have a hard time deciding and they maybe want to take an ag class and a wood class. So that is a possibility. You can do that, but you should take at least one per year so that you can meet this requirement by the time you are a senior. Our electives. Basically, our electives come from our VAPA classes, our CTE classes, our foreign language classes, and there are many other classes to choose from. When you are choosing your CTE classes, when you are choosing your electives, I guess I should say, when you choose from the CTE list, the CTE requirement will be filled first. And then once you fulfill that requirement, those classes will become electives. So you can choose those as electives as well. Same with the VAPA classes like drama and graphic design and photography. We have many classes that are listed on your freshman course request sheet. And we have also descriptions of those classes in the course descriptions that I sent home for you. Most freshman students either have room for most freshman students will have room for one elective class in their schedule. That is because they are taking Spanish, or maybe they're trying to get their VAPA class out of the way, or maybe they're taking a couple of CTE classes instead of one. So, as freshmen, the classes there isn't a lot of room to add extra classes. We only have 7 periods in a day, and that is why you have 7 places to fit there in your course request form. Um, so make those choices on there, and please make sure that you are following the directions on those course request forms. It asks you to choose 3 electives, even though I know that you don't have room for 3 in your schedule. If you rank those, then we know what best to put you in if the class you wanted first was full. If you have questions on any of these, again, please make sure you always email me and ask me any questions that you have. Um, so that is electives. So there's a couple of other things I just wanted to go over with you about some of the things that I want to make sure that you are aware of as you fill out these packets of these information. Some of the things to consider when choosing your courses. Make sure that you understand what dual enrollment classes are. There are some on your course request form, like coding and robotics and computer apps, that are what we call dual enrolled classes. That means that you would be enrolled in that high school class, but you will also be enrolled in the Shasta College class. Dual enrollment classes are Shasta College classes on our campus. Therefore, you will receive credits for high school, but you will also receive Shasta College credits and begin to build a transcript for college. You have to be very careful with those classes because, as I said, you are building a transcript for college. So if you get a poor grade in that class, that will be on that transcript. So keep that in mind when you are signing up for those classes. Advanced placement classes, these are also classes that give you high school credits. They are usually college level courses. And there's a possibility of college credits by taking an exam at the end of the year. So watch for those also on your electives list. Another thing to consider is to make sure that you're checking your graduation requirements and your A through G requirements as you're building your schedule so that you can make sure you are starting to meet those things now, so that when you are a senior, you're not missing some of the things you needed to have. Lastly, I want you to know that we do offer internships and job shadowing opportunities through Trinity High School. If you are interested in those opportunities, you just need to send me an email and let me know what type of internship or job shadow you are interested in. You can do this throughout your 4 years, and I will get that information to our internship coordinator. You can do those every year. You can change your mind when you're a sophomore about what you were thinking you wanted to be as a freshman and check those jobs out ahead of time. So I just want to make sure that you have my email. It is there at the top of this slide. Please ask me any questions that you have about any parts of the packet so that you can have an easier time of filling them out. Please return your course request forms and all of the other forms in the registration packet as soon as possible so that we can get you into schedules for next year. If you prefer phone calls, please make sure you email me and let me know you would like me to give you a call and give me your phone number so I can do so. And I will be happy to talk to you about your upcoming school year. Um, Remember to follow those directions on that form. We are so excited to meet you next year and welcome you into our THS family. Thank you. Have a good evening or day, and we will be seeing you very soon.